sign of Cancer, a weekly tarot reading. Let's maybe 5 more days, a couple more days, and we're out of the heat. All right, Cancer, let's take a look and see what's going on with you. 8 of Swords. Are you feeling overwhelmed at all? First card that comes up for you is 8 of Swords. If you notice on the 8 of Swords, he's got blinders on his head. He can't see clearly. So there might be some confusing elements right now. It's almost as if you're too busy, where you've got a lot of activity and action going on that's kind of keeping you from staying focused. Hi, Leon. Are you a Cancer? Wow. Okay. See, this is why I avoided doing the readings. Last week was tough, so let's hold the line here and look at these together. So for you, Cancer, are you picking up that there's a little antagonistic behaviors going on in the people around you? I'm seeing just a little bit of drama. We've got this 10 of Wands, a little overwhelmed. We can't see our way out of a solution. Things are happening faster than we can keep track of. Like there's constantly new information, it looks like. Little bit of overwhelm, but here's the good news. This is the back row. If you guys are looking on Instagram over here at my picture-in-picture, you can kind of see the relationship of these. So one of the things that I'd like to point out here is there's this moderate little bit of distrust that you have with other people's motives. You've got the 2 of Swords right here, like sitting on the fence. You're not quite sure how to proceed moving forward. You have the Devil card. So you're wondering if someone's telling the truth, has ulterior motives, you know, maybe it's a group thing where you kind of feel as if there's more people involved, but there's so much doubt with this 5 of Cups where you kind of feel as if, not quite sure whether I should trust things. Listen, Mercury retrograde makes things so much more confusing, so we have a difficult time picking out the truth here. Not only are our surfaces coming, not only are our emotions coming to the surface, traumas are showing up. You know, Mercury retrograde is about going within. So occasionally we find ourselves digging up old things or old things coming up. But let me just say this, you know, even though you have the 2 of Swords, if you're looking here at these cards in relationship to one another, all of this anxiety, energy, and feeling kind of out of whack is behind you. You've already come to a pivot point or a turning point here. You've got the 6 of Cups for celebration. It feels like a relief. There's still some action you need to put into play, or, you know, you've made some decisions. Now it's time to back them up, so to speak. You have the Ace of Swords and the Ace of Pentacles here, both money and decision making, where you're pivoting. I lied. You have Ace of Wands, Ace of Coins, Ace of Swords. So what are aces? Aces are our trump card to a suit. So if it's cups, it's almost a major card. That's how I play them anyway, or that's how I utilize them, because they're the culmination of that suit. So right now, Leon, you're feeling this turning point in a lot of different ways. And look here, even though things are moving quickly, you've got this card here, the 7 of Swords, for things being easier, right? Like the tension is finally breaking. So the center of your reading is this Ace of Wands. So the Ace of Wands has to do with ability, capability, innate talent. So what's happening here is, like, literally trust yourself. Literally recognize that you're fully capable. Honestly, it means that, you know, you don't need a degree. You just kind of know what to do. And this should be easy for you. Now, the only thing that I see different is I see a transition from this chaos feeling, or feeling as if things are kind of moving too fast. What I'm seeing here for you is things getting easier. You're making a pivot. You're making solid decisions with the Ace of Swords here. So you go from indecision to sudden clarity here. Like a lot of things that are kind of confusing are starting to show themselves as, you know, what action you should be taking next. So I feel like the tension's going to break a little bit for you and get easier. Also curious if some of you are taking a trip, Cancer. We've got travel in here, or a vacation near water. So obviously that's not literally every Cancer, but we can see it. I want to move into the moon reading, actually. So let's take a look at the Cancer moon reading, because I feel like feelings are a little bit more on deck right now, or taking a front row seat. So your feelings have to be involved in everything right now. All right, so things that are coming up for me is the Hermit card. So have you been sitting back and watching people's behavior? Are you keeping yourself out of the loop of other people's drama? Are you kind of sitting back and watching? Curious question for Cancer. Are you having a hard time sleeping, more lucid dreams, restlessness, anything like that? Or are there some things that you're obsessing about? Are you getting ringing in your ears too lately? Just curious. That popped out of nowhere. So I'm seeing the Nine of Wands. One of the things that I'm seeing for Cancer is fatigue. If you look here, the Nine of Wands, so much going on. One more thing after another. Think of a batting cage. I think there's a little self-reflection in here, of course, in the very center. So the Temperance card. So here's what's going on with the Temperance card. Okay. The Temperance is about self-reflection. It's about balance. It's about that tension between opposites. So much feeling, Leon says. So with the Temperance card, what it tells us is balance is coming, or that you're seeking balance. One of the things that I notice about the Temperance card is people are looking at their reflections. So we spend a lot of time in the mirror. How do I fix this? What did I do wrong? You know, how can I make this better? A lot of times self-awareness can be a crutch because we're the only one giving, and we don't give ourselves enough permission to forgive ourselves or to let something just completely go. I was having a conversation with one of my clients yesterday during a coaching call, and she was talking about how to figure out this person. And, you know, when I was a paramedic, don't be mad at me, but I used to call it tiptoe around the psycho. Sometimes we have to just tiptoe around a scenario in order not to evoke a certain behavior. Like, if any of you have been in an abusive relationship or around people who are abusive, you kind of know what's going to set them off. So sometimes, you know, there is a point where someone has a belief system, you know, religious people, for example, that have a belief that they are opposed to any discussion of anything that will contradict, conflict, or undermine what their belief system is. And so they get a little combative about it or abusive. And so we just don't touch the subject. Politics, for example. You want to get your ass beat? Go ahead and bring up Trump, right? And either direction, right? Sorry, I said the T word. We're not trying to get political here, but, you know, or even, you know what I mean? Like you bring something up and it tends to boil the pot over. So maybe there's a little bit of withdrawal in here where you're dancing carefully around something. And I wanted to mention that sometimes you cannot determine the logical process, and they're not sometimes very logical at all. And so I used to call it tiptoe, right? Because I don't want to get into it. I don't want to be at the brunt of something that happens to make no sense, and I'm not going to try and figure it out and just move myself out of the way. So sometimes we can't pick apart what it is someone else is thinking, what their belief system is, or their motives. And it's difficult because we want to fix. We want to fix things. I'm also seeing for Taurus this Knight of Swords. Woo! This is, you want to start shit, right? So this card right here has to do with like, I really want to say the thing. But I feel that with the Temperance, and you have opportunity, like I kind of feel like you have opportunity to say all the things. But if you look here, we have the Temperance card. Ultimately, it would feel great to tell them off. But ultimately, I feel like you know that that is immature and childish and won't get you the results that you need. I do pick up that you're fatigued and tired. We do have watchfulness though. So there's a little bit of watching other people's behavior so we can decide how to next move within the scenario so that we can be safe, smart, and on top. We have the Emperor too, which is telling us that we have action that needs to be taken. So this Emperor tells us that you don't need to ask anybody's permission to make these decisions. You don't need to disclose, you know, notify, or discuss. So you've got the Temperance card, the Emperor, and then you have the World. So making these decisions in your own way, with your own leadership, without any input from others, kind of gives you a little more access to the things that you want. So if you're feeling this strength, and you have the Fool card, you're at a crossroads right now about things. So this self-doubt, this Two of Swords is what you've got as the end result because you have so much information and you are doing the work. I feel like Cancer is really digging in and trying to do the right thing. We've got the Seven of Pentacles. Times are shifting for you, and so you're trying to be careful, I see. Am I right on that one, Leo? And I'm seeing the Page of Swords, new beginnings. Start this again as many times as I have to, right? You're committed. But we do have the Six of Wands, and what that tells us is eventually you'll get some recognition about like what it is that you were always right, or that you had things correct, and maybe someone will recognize that a little bit later. Just hold the line, guys. I want to pull a card for you from Divination of the Ancients and see what your focus is for this week. I swear to God, I pulled the book out so I could look at it. I like to reference this manual, but I guess I'm not going to get to. I swear I pulled it out so I could have it. All right, so I am going to pull a card for you from Divinations of the Ancients. He said yes. Okay, so for those of you that are established clients, I would encourage you to go take a look at the website at the shop. I'd love to hear your feedback. What would you keep and what would you give? We just want to hear some feedback before we really go full out. The prices are at retail right now because we're figuring out how to put these all together. So if you take a look at it, give me a little feedback, let me know. To book your one-on-one, visit karmaondeck.com. For those of you on Instagram, I love your company on my YouTube. And you can see your signs within a playlist, so you can find your sign easier over there instead of just catching me on the live. Focus! All right, so your card for the week, Cancer, is focus. So where is it that you're feeling scattered? Focus on what's important. Sometimes pulling back, settling in with a family, getting back to the smallest unit, like the smallest common denominator before we expand. And the other thing that I want to say is sometimes the best focus that we can get is pulling back, because what does an arrow need? It needs us to pull back in order to send it with some strength anywhere and direction. So if you have to pull back, which I would suggest highly that you do, because this fatigue that you have going on, you know, my best friend always says, if it's heavy, put it down. We don't give ourselves enough breaks. The only one that's got this benchmark in your head for expectations of what you do is you. So have a little patience with yourself. Remember, if you look in the back here, there's all these different arrows going on in the background, going all these different directions. And I think that's a little bit of what was going on with you in the beginning in the general spread, where you're feeling scattered and analysis paralysis is kicking in. So focus, skip the steps, and look at the goal, because the intention and mechanism are related. If your intention is clear, your mechanism will appear. So don't focus on the problem, focus on the end result. I want to thank you guys for hanging out with me. Let me see who's next. I will be right back after this for Leo, if you want to hang out with me. So I will catch you guys on the flip side.